once again, I am Bill Wordy. I'm the editorial director of Billboard. I hope you're not getting overly tired of me yet. Not yet, thank you. Good to hear. I heard some mixed results, so we'll try harder this panel. Just like last time, I mean, there's certain times when this job is way more fun than other times. The artist that I'm about to bring to the stage has won 5 Grammys, has sold somewhere in the area of 50 million albums around the world. Yeah, 50 million, that's cool, right? Currently on the Billboard Hot 100 with Your Body, a Max Martin-produced track, which is setting up the release of Lotus, her eagerly anticipated next album on November 13th. And if we're all being honest, if she had only ever recorded the song Beautiful, she would have been an iconic singer with just that. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's my distinct pleasure to bring to the stage Christina Aguilera.
Hello, hello. Hi. Ooh, cozy with Christina.
Yeah, you get like the bear fur and the zebra stripes, and I just don't.
I'm cozy. Settling in to tell some stories.
Excellent. I feel like maybe I should do that too, like just kind of.
Yeah, let's cozy up together. Oh, yeah. I love the socks.
Well, thank
You're
you.
kind of like Jack the Pumpkin King skeleton, like Halloween. I'm so excited.
I was going for that Jack the Pumpkin King this morning when I got dressed.
Okay. Just for me, because I love Tim Burton. Okay.
Excellent. So, Christina, this being a film and TV music conference, I think, and us not having a ton of time, and thank you so much for giving us some time today, I'd like to discuss the role that film and TV has played in your career, and just start maybe with some of the early moments, right? Like in the early days, you were on Star Search, and you kind of use these sorts of shows to start to make a path for yourself.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, I've always known. I mean, sometimes you just know what you're placed on this earth to do, and mine came easy through my childhood. I've had sort of a chaotic past and upbringing. It sort of music sort of came to me as a form of release and escape, and the only thing to escape that sort of chaos growing up. And so inevitably then you're just naturally going to stray towards that path. And my mom was very supportive. I started out as, a wedding singer, singing at block parties, 6, 7 years old. Then came Star Search. That was the first big break in my career at that time at 7 years old.
And at 7, did you realize what you would accomplish? Were you super excited to be on TV?
Yes, we would watch, Star Search all the time. Me and my mom and my grandma.
Ed McMahon was the bomb.
Ed McMahon, who couldn't say my name right. If any of you caught Leno, it was so funny. Aguilera, it was terrible. It was awful. But I don't know. It's kind of funny that now I am on a show where, it's far beyond what Star Search was. We're actual entertainers who do it ourselves, go out on the road, and it's great to be a coach and have that, which takes us full circle to The Voice. But after Star Search, I ended up losing, and didn't work for me. But then came the Mickey Mouse Club, which I think was more famous for me after,
By the way, I have to interrupt you. If Star Search was really good at any one thing, it was making the biggest musical stars in the world lose when they were 6 or 7.
Yeah, they did, right? The other
like Justin
people that
Timberlake,
were on too.
like Loser.
None of them went on. Britney was on
Britney,
too.
Loser.
But we all went on to the Mickey Mouse Club, right?
Yeah.
And
the great redeemer of careers, Mickey Mouse Club.
Yeah, and Ryan Gosling and so many amazing people have come out of that show. So great casting agent. First of all, I think his name was Mike Casella. I still remember his name. Because I was devastated. I tried out for that show when I was 9, and I was too young, I guess, and they held on to my audition tape and had me re-audition when I was 11, 12. And I made it. And, at the time, there were other Mouseketeers that didn't make it. There was Jessica Simpson, who didn't make it, but, was still a part of that whole casting process. So it was amazing. And if anything, that show, of course, it taught you work ethic, giving you schedules, this and that. But because I was around so many other kids my age, and I wasn't used to this, because I grew up in an area where I felt very outcasted or bullied a little bit, or I didn't feel truly accepted because of my love for entertaining, and all I wanted to do was be on that stage, and you know, and finally I was with my people. You know, there was Brittany and Justin and all these people that were so passionate and wanted full-on careers in this business, and we were just friends, and you know, it was just really, really nice, you know, to have that experience. And then of course, burlesque, The Voice. I don't know where you want to go next.
Well, I think the place I'd like to go next is actually the Disney movie Mulan.
Yeah.
Which your first hit in the big mainstream hit, I believe, was the song "Reflection" from Mulan. Yeah.
Yeah, that, you know, after the Mickey Mouse Club, I think everyone was out shopping for deals and whatnot.
So how did that opportunity first come to you? How was it first presented?
Well, I met with one A&R who was particularly interested in me, Ron Fair, who's still a dear friend of mine to this day. Our kids go to the same preschool, et cetera. And yeah, he just got me. I came into his office. He's a very like serious, like intense personality, and I love that about him. You know, he's just so passionate. He's so full of passion. And I went into his office. I was, you know, shaking like a leaf. I was so green, even though I had Mickey Mouse Club. I mean, this was like the real deal. This was the record deal, you know. And so I walked into his office, and I remember he was like, "Sing for me," and I'm like, "Okay," and like this little office, and it just. Whew, it was a lot of pressure, but I whipped out, you know, Whitney Houston, Preacher's Wife, like gospel songs, and just went for it, and in his office, and belted them out, and that stayed in his mind. For then, I think the opportunity of Mulan, someone approached him. Whoever was doing this, I think his name was Matthew. I forget what his last name is. Matthew something. Hey, Matthew Wilder, thank you. Matthew Wilder, who was
I told you this audience is serious.
this sweet little guy. No, it's great. So I'd already been back, you know, I'd met with Ron Fair already. I went back to my hometown of Pittsburgh, where I was just kind of waiting and hoping for any phone call to arrive to give me the record deal, because I'd met with a few people who passed on me, but now. But now I'm glad that Ron signed me. And he was like, can you belt the high E above middle C? So I had to like do an audition tape in my bathroom, and tape at the time, right? So now you would just iPod it over or whatever, and now it's just like, you know, I had to cassette tape it with a little tape recorder in my bathroom for the acoustics and the sound and whatnot, just to prove. And I did it with like a Whitney Houston song, I Want to Run to You, FedExed it out to him. And the next thing I knew, they were flying me out to LA. And that week, I got a double deal, my record contract, and I got the Mulan soundtrack all in one. So it was a 2-in-1 situation. It was really, really my dream come true that week. And then everything started going.
Yeah, that's a pretty good week. So you took an acting turn. You mentioned this earlier, but you took an acting turn in burlesque, and the reviews were generally pretty kind to your performance. Kind to your performance in some ways than they were to the movie, which is you want for them to love both, but better they love your performance than
it's true.
not.
Yeah, exactly.
What did you take out of that experience? What did you learn? Do you want to do more acting?
So much. I do want to do more acting. I would want to do something where I could really sink my teeth into something a little bit more challenging and gritty, outside of myself, outside of music. I took.
You feel like it wasn't like a super stretch to play a singer?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, haha, yes. But I sort of had this personal aspiration to do film, but I said I never want to do a musical. I don't want to do that route. Like, it's too much like myself. Like, if I do it, I want it to be honest and genuine, and in expanding in my wings and doing something really, really different. You know, a crackhead on the street, or a drug addict, or something crazy and meaty and juicy, and, you know, something that really took me outside of myself. And Allie, that character I played, actually did sort of take me outside of myself, because it made me revisit a time when I was so green and wide-eyed, and she was so vulnerable, and sometimes I just wanted to slap her and be like, oh, come on, like, you know, have some balls or something. You know what I mean? She just, like, she was so naive and so young and youthful, and I think that was what the character wrote for, but I was inspired to do it. What made me want to do it was Stephen Anton definitely knew how to win me over with doing the role. He wrote in my favorites, Etta James, to cover. The musical numbers were all, you know, I am a good girl, like this little, like, Parisian, like, French little burlesque thing. And I just come off the record Back to Basics, which was completely inspired by 20s, 30s, and 40s era sex and sound. So he knew, what world I was living in and what I appreciated. So I was able to tap into that performance-wise very, very well. But I learned so much. I mean, that wasn't an easy set to be a part of. There was a lot going on. I think all the divas were definitely not me and Cher. It was definitely the men that can sometimes be the most divas on those kinds of sets. But Steven was very gracious, and he was very, he knew it was my first film, learning lines, the whole thing, even though I'd learned lines for skits and I'd hosted SNL, and that was very great and a beautiful, amazing time in my life. It was just like, this was a movie. So I liked it, but at the same time, Ali got really, I felt very confined, because I'm used to coming from the music world where I feel very free and very open, and I personally come from an honest and genuine place, and then to go into acting, you definitely have to put yourself aside and get into a character and a role, and that's the way I wanted to do it anyway. I didn't want to play it so cliche, even though some of the writing might have been woo! But no, it was an amazing experience. And Cher was,
next time you'll have to do the writing also.
Cher was really great. Cher was she was very kind. She was a good actor to learn from and have girl talk time with, and it was great. It was a beautiful experience in my life to be cherished.
What's maybe one piece of advice, if you boil down the conversations that you were able to have with Cher? What's maybe one piece of advice you took away from that?
She taught me how to sort of look, sort of what I didn't know is for your off-camera scenes to be just as good, if not more of an actor, to give to the person that you're in the scene with, because it's just going to make the whole thing better, to really be a giving actor. And I didn't know what that meant, but it's true, being on the other side of the camera where you're not in the shot, like why would you care? But really, it makes for an amazing scene, and you start to understand and appreciate the beauty of film and the passion and the love that goes into the whole process and the craft of it, which was nice, a wonderful learning experience.
Very cool. I'm just curious, you and Cher have in common maybe the fact that you're both phenomenally talented at what you do, but you've also both been in the public eye for a long time, and sometimes I think you feel the benefit of that, and sometimes you feel the glare of that a little bit. Mm-hmm. I would think that Cher would be a good person to get advice on that notion from. Do you talk about that at all? Like how do you turn it off? How do you?
In that regard, we talked about relationships a lot, actually.
I don't know that Cher is the first person I would get relationship advice from, but that's fascinating. Oh, come on, that's not mean.
It's kind of funny, but
that was like getting career advice from Bootsy Collins early. I mean, it was like.
No, but it's talking about experiences, things you can relate to, being like a woman in this industry, and just speaking about that for a second, she does have, it's hard being such a powerful woman in the business, and I'm known for not always being, kind of. And I learned early on, you can't always be warm and fuzzy because you'll just get bulldozed right over. Being in this business so
young. Are you saying
young,
you're known for being less than warm and fuzzy sometimes?
Sometimes, because you just learn to put up this little protective shield. Because I think the most sensitive people in life sometimes are the ones that come off a little more guarded or cold, but it's because it's because of something. And I think in my music I come off as being very open about being insecure and vulnerable and sensitive sometimes, but then I'll go on stage and, be this powerhouse force to be reckoned with. But those are part of such important parts of my personality to balance, I think, for them both to be so great, to be so vulnerable, wear my heart on my sleeve allows me to feel so passionately and feel things so deeply. But getting back to that, she, knowing what it's like to be such a strong woman, guys are intimidated by that. Guys don't want to hear that. If you're too aggressive and assertive and know what you want, some people don't want that opinion. They want to just bitch. It's like
we can talk. It's totally fine.
Yeah. Hey, I'm open. I'm an open book when it comes down to it. But yeah, and it's easy, to get so hurt and taken advantage of, even more so if you're a female in this industry. So yeah, we had a lot in common in that regard. But career advice, you said? I think I covered that almost.
Yeah, no, we're
two
good.
One.
You actually beg the question. I talked to Demi Lovato about this just a little bit earlier today, and we definitely don't need to get into any of the specifics of the crap that's out there, and that's not what this interview is about or what this crowd is about. But does the the tabloid kind of stuff, does it get into your head sometimes? Is it easy to shut it out? Does it become an interference with like the creative process sometimes? Because I think you are. I mean, most artists are sensitive people.
Well, I'm in a position at this point in my career where, look, I'm a mother, I'm a businesswoman, I was a zillion and one things going on in my head, on my plate, creatively. I put my son to bed, then I go right into my backyard, which is my studio house. I then try and get enough rest so I can wake up with him in the morning, the school, then I go, do hours on The Voice. It's a lot. I don't have time. I really, truly don't have time for the static noise. And I realized this a long time ago. It's just like, getting caught up in that. It's just not real, and honestly, they're not real magazines. It's trash, and it's somebody's rumors or opinions, and it's static noise. It really is.
Yeah.
I don't really look at the good, and I don't look at the bad. If my son has a cute picture of him playing soccer one day or whatever, I'll be like, oh, forward me that to my publicist. But my publicist can tell you, she's like, she never wants to know the good or the bad, because once you start believing that stuff, even if it's good, I don't want to ever believe my own hype. I want to stay hungry and stay eager, and I want to be the best that I can be. And I think that's able to be accomplished by staying on your toes. And then the negative, I don't need to look at, honestly, sorry if anybody is out a critic or reviews or this and that. And then now everyone's a critic. The blogs, things like, blog is not even in my vocabulary. I don't read those things because, it's just some God knows who and I don't know, buttfuck wherever writing, hate shit.
Buttfuck,
like,
that's very quotable.
I don't know. It's real talk today. But so
It's super real talk.
You can't take it seriously. You can't take it seriously.
Yeah, that's okay. You guys can clap for buttfuck. Yeah.
I'm sure you've all been hated on by one or two people at some point, by buttfuck people, so.
There's no buttfucks in this room, so it's cool.
No buttfucks allowed today. No, but
We screen for that. It's a question on the application for the conference.
But it's people that hide behind their computer. Oh, here I go off on a tangent. And what are you really doing with your life, really? So I try to come from a really heartfelt and genuine, honest place with my records. That's why I don't dish them out like Pop-Tarts, every few months. I take time in between records and think about what I have to say, the person I've become since the last time I was out, live life, experience new things. And that's why Lotus is so amazing, because my experience as a coach on The Voice.